Well, hey, and thanks for joining me for another episode of the Full Frontal Living podcast. I cannot believe that we are already, feels like three-quarters of the way through April. And just next week, I am going to have a 25-year-old son. That is wild to me. Anyways, I digress. What I want to talk about today is the level of uncertainty in the world right now. And I want to talk you through a strategy that I use specifically around managing worry. Because here's the thing about worry worry gives us the illusion that we're solving the problem, right? Like if we worry about it, then it's like we're keeping it top of mind. But the truth is, worry gives us nothing. It does not give us a solution to the problem. We're just constantly like marinating in the problem. So you think about this as a parent, how often you worry about your kids, but does worrying about your kids actually keep them safe? Does worrying about your kids mean you love them more than a parent that doesn't worry about their kids? No, worry literally is holding your attention on what you don't want to have happen. Okay, so another proverb that I love is that says, worrying is praying for shit you don't want. So nobody wants to be worrying, not to mention the amount of time and energy that it takes from you on worry. So many of you come to me because you're feeling unfulfilled. You don't have the time and the energy to really prioritize yourself, yet you're spending an exorbitant amount of time on worry, yet you're not actually taking any action to combat the worry. Now, it's 2025. I listened to a colleague's podcast and she was talking about the level of uncertainty in the world right now is at very, very high levels. Like the last time we saw this was during COVID, and then the last time we saw it before that was, well over a decade ago. I can't remember the exact stats. But the bottom line is this level of uncertainty doesn't happen in the world all that often. And we just came off like that. The COVID years were highly uncertain. I mean, when it started out, we didn't all know if we were all going to drop dead or what was going on. Um, Lots of different ways different countries handled it. Like it was just crazy pants. We've come out the other side of that. Most people, I don't believe, are operating from a level of a regulated nervous system. I don't think people really truly understand the impact that that level of uncertainty had on their bodies, had on them emotionally, because so many people do not have that emotional fluency. They just kind of numb out and move their way through it and, wipe their hands. It's over now. We're moving on, not recognizing the impact that that level of fear and uncertainty had on them. So now here we are in 2025. We've got crazy things happening around the globe. We've got global warming. We've got politically, I don't think we've ever been in a more polarized time. And something I posted on my Instagram today was about how we've gone from spending time with family and friends predominantly to now the time we spend online has trumped that. And it just got me thinking around, well, no wonder there's so much polarity in the world because we're not actually spending as much time one to one in person. We're spending a lot more time behind our screens and communicating in that way. And I can tell you that when you are in contact with a person and you are having a conversation, it is so much easier to have conversations about like, help me understand that. Um, Share with me your perspective and what caused you to come to that perspective. Like listening to understand and be curious. Because behind screens, nobody wants to be curious. We just want to force our perspective down somebody else's throat. So again, even that fear of like opening your mouth and starting a conversation because you don't know how it's going to be received, that creates a level of uncertainty in us. Like, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be pushed out of the tribe, so to speak, if I have a voice around this issue, or if I believe this and they believe that? So here we are, this heightened level of uncertainty, which means many of you are in this incessant worry about the environment, worry about politics, worry about your kids. Will we have a planet for our kids when they're older? There's so many things that we can worry about. Money, the stock markets, like we are not at a shortage of things to worry about right now. So I want to give you the strategy that I've used in my life to navigate worry. And this is a strategy like I'm drinking my own medicine. I am drinking my own medicine because I have found myself back in these habit thoughts, these worry thoughts that are not serving me. And like any good habit, it like shows up and you don't even realize like, wow, I'm doing that thing again. And I've really noticed that in myself. So it's time to nip this in the bud. So I'm going to take you back in time in the way back time machine when it was a time in my life where I was very, very deep in debt. So we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. My business had not taken off yet. So from the outside, it looked like I was successful and doing really amazing. But on the inside, I was not feeling fulfilled. I was not feeling successful. I was struggling and I was trapped in constant worry and anxiety. This was my life. Um, and then I started to realize, oh my gosh, I'm addicted to my worry. I'm addicted to the struggle. I'm a I was just so attached to these stories, right? And I've talked about this in previous episodes about we have to watch when we're attached to the identity of being the survivor or the identity of someone who struggles because we will create that in our lives. So I realized, okay, if I want to shift my relationship with money, how specifically is worrying about it doing anything? Again, worry does not fix the problem. Worry actually perpetuates the problem because now you're just marinating in it all the time. So the strategy had to do with saying, okay, Lisa, we got to break this habit. So just like any other habit, habits are formed by repetition. So worry, I had been repeating for decades, right? This habit was solid. The worry habit was solid. And this is why I'm having to bring this strategy back because those neural pathways had been laid down and they're like firing up again. So the worry habit had been there for years. So I needed to come up with a strategy to break that habit. So we can talk about like, how do you build habits towards what you want? But first, to have what you to create what it is you want, you have to let go of what you don't want. So it was about taking responsibility for the worry habits that I didn't want, for what I was creating in my life, because that's where I was holding my attention. And you've probably heard me say before, whatever you're putting your attention on is what you get more of. So if you're focused, let's use Instagram as an example, right? The more you look at if one specific topic, so let's say it's politics, the more you look at politics, the more the algorithm will push politics um, into your reality, so to speak, right? That's what you're going to see more of. And when I was traveling the world, what I found so interesting, when I was sitting on a beach in the middle of nowhere, Zanzibar, nobody had a clue what was going on in North America. Like it wasn't even a thing. So it was a real eye-opening experience to go like, oh, this like ecosystem that I'm in actually doesn't exist in other places because they're just not looking at it. So that doesn't mean it doesn't exist at all, but it really was this perfect example of whatever you're holding your attention on, you're going to get more of. So if you are holding your attention on worry, you're just manifesting or creating more of what you don't want. So let's talk about how to unwind this, right? Because our habits create our outcomes. And I don't want you to have the outcome from the worry. Like, that's not what we want. So, again, praying for shit you don't want. So, it started with, and this was one of the most powerful decisions I could have made. And it was no longer indulging the part of me that wanted to indulge the habit around commiserating about what was going on with my money. So I'm sure you have that friend that you call that, you spill the tea with on all the things. And I don't want us to not feel our feelings or not be honest about how we're feeling. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about bypassing how I was feeling. It was no longer indulging the story. It was no longer feeding that wolf, so to speak. It's because every time I would go to my friend and talk about how I was feeling, again, I was putting my focus on what I didn't want. I wanted to be living a rich, abundant life. I didn't want to be talking about my lack and scarcity and my worry and what if this happens and what if that happens. So I put myself on a diet, no longer to indulge in sharing how I was feeling around this specific topic around worrying about my money. So that was the first thing. No longer commiserating. I was going to break that habit. And what was so fascinating is I was so attached to that habit, I had to stop myself. It was like an itch I wanted to scratch every day to just like get in there and like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to marinate in the crap that I don't like. I had to really take a step back and say, like, Lisa, we're not doing this. And be in the discomfort of not indulging that habit. So it's no different than if you're like craving a cigarette and your brain's like, let's go get a cigarette. And you're like, I'm not smoking anymore. There's going to be discomfort. And if you can weather that discomfort and keep shifting your attention onto something else, you'll release that habit. But there's no releasing of habits that you don't want without discomfort. It can be fast, but initially you are going to notice it because the reason that we get into habits, our body wants, our brain wants to automate things to make our life easier. And if you've told it year after year after year, month after month, day after day, this is what we do, your brain's like, well, what do you mean we're not doing that anymore? I didn't get the memo. So it's going to keep prompting you. That habit voice is going to keep coming up for you, right? That thought loop is going to keep being there. That craving is going to be there. It's your job to override it, be with the discomfort, understand why you're feeling the discomfort, and move through it. So I'm going to give you the strategies that happened after this. So the first was, Lisa, we're not indulging this worry anymore. And this is where I'm at in my life again. There's certain things that have been coming up for me, and I'm like, Lisa, we need to stop this. Like, you want this train to go a different direction, then be the conductor of your train. Be responsible for shifting this. Stop indulging this. Right? So I'm really having to parent myself. I laugh about it because it is. It's like, ugh, stomp my feet. I'm like, I don't want to be the adult. I just want to like commiserate over this stuff. But I know that that is not an effective strategy. It's not going to give me what I want or what I need. It's not going to create more of what I want. So, first thing, not indulging. The second thing, when the thought would come up for me, right? The worry about money. Oh my God, right? Like I could feel it in my body. The anxiety would rise. I would say, Lisa, stop it. The first thing I would ask myself is anything different today from yesterday? The answer was either yes or no. Maybe I got a new bill. But more often than not, it was no. Today is no different than yesterday. If there was something different and I could take action on it, the next step was like, okay, if something is different, can I take action on it? If the answer is yes, then go take that action. But stop worrying and thinking about it. Just go do the thing to eliminate the worry, right? So get out of thinking and get into action, because action moves you out of your head. If, and 99.9% of the time, nothing was different. Is anything different today from yesterday, Lisa? No. Then I would ask myself, did anything bad happen yesterday? Did anything bad happen yesterday? And 100% of the time, it was no. No bill collector showed up at my house. My kids didn't run away from home. My car didn't get repossessed. My house didn't burn down. Like, nothing bad happened. So if nothing bad happened yesterday and today is no different than yesterday, why would I want to continue to worry? So in that moment, I would then say, okay, we've acknowledged the worries here. We understand why it's here because this is a habit. And now, Lisa, what do you want to put your attention on here? And then I would shift it into, okay, what do I want to think about? I want to think about the life I'm creating. I want to think about the clients I'm going to serve. I want to be thinking about the beautiful, beautiful day. There's cherry blossoms out, it's blue sky, whatever it is, but moving my attention into something that was more productive, that supported the energy I wanted to be with, that supported the creation of the things I wanted to create, right? Because habits, remember, create your outcome. So This was my way of going through the steps. So I wasn't bypassing anything. I wasn't telling myself I shouldn't or couldn't feel this way. I allowed myself to acknowledge the worries there. And I also showed up like an adult to myself and parented myself through it. What's the worst here, Lisa? Like if nothing bad happened yesterday, then chances are everything today is going to be fine. And that's the thing, right? Like worry wants you to believe that things aren't going to be okay. Whereas most of the time, we have no evidence that things are not going to be okay. Most of the time, things will work out, maybe not in the way you want it to. But for all the years I spent and all the energy and time I spent on worry, nothing bad ever really happened. Sometimes I had more credit card debt. Sometimes I was paying a lot more interest than maybe I could have. But at the end of the day, everything was fine. Everything was fine. And here I am years later. And because I was able to use this strategy, that's not a huge worry for me now. And the world is different in 2025 and business is different in 2025. And like I said, I'm having to drink my own medicine because I've had these threads of worry come back in and I've really had to catch myself and say, Lisa, like, is this the energy that you want to be moving forward with? Because worry is actually not going to help you. Taking action on the things you can be responsible will, but worry for the sake of worry helps nothing. Just perpetuates the problem and actually makes it grow and grow and grow. And who wants to be spending more time and energy worrying? So, that is how I started to release the habit of worry. Now, you can apply this to anything. You can apply this to your children. You can apply this to your relationship, to your business. You can apply it to what's going on in the world, right? So, climate change. Okay, but did we have an apocalypse yesterday? Nope. Nope. Everything is still okay. Okay, well, what can I take action on today? And then you can choose something that would support the planet, or you can choose to do nothing and release your worry. But worrying about climate change is not going to fix climate change. Taking action on something that supports you feeling better will. Worrying about it will not. And like I said, look at the cost it comes with. Look at the cost worry comes with. So let's be effective at managing our energy, managing our time so that we can create more of what we want. Let's start holding our attention on what we want to have happen in the world and the possibilities that are in front of us. We are in an age where so much more is possible now than ever before. We could find a solution to this in the next month, in the next year. Who knows? We literally do not know. But what I do know is no amount of worrying will fix the problem. So, on that note, enjoy this strategy. It is a very like practical, pragmatic way of approaching worry. I truly hope it serves you. It has been so powerful in my life on numerous occasions for numerous things. So I am so happy to share that with you so that you can apply it in your own life. So thank you for tuning into this episode, and I will be back next week. I've got a couple topics planned out. And by all means, if there is a topic or a question that you want me to answer or cover, just send me an email to lisa@lisacarpenter.ca, and I'm happy to work it into the podcast schedule. I am here to serve my community. So if you tell me what you want, and I'm here to serve. If you are really struggling to deal with these uncertain times, there is no better time ever than to have coaches, mentors, whatever it is you need in your corner. Having a coach right now is more valuable than ever because we are not meant to go through periods of uncertainty on our own. And when you have a trusted advisor that you can go back and forth with to help you shift your perspective, imagine how much more peace and joy you could find in times of uncertainty versus being stuck in worry, anxiety, and fear, because those come at a massive cost. And usually it's to your physical and your emotional well-being. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to be on this planet for as long as possible so I can enjoy this beautiful planet, so I can enjoy my beautiful kids, maybe even one day grandkids. I mean, I am going to have a 25-year-old. Not soon. No grandbabies soon. But I am here to play the game that supports me coming out on top, that supports me winning. So it's managing my emotional well-being so that I can show up as my best. And fear, anxiety, and worry actually rob you of your wellness. So if you are struggling through these times, apply to work with me, lisacarpenter.ca/WWM. There's an application there. We can have a conversation about what coaching container might be best for you. And it might just be doing a single transformational coaching call and starting there. But there are options for you. You don't have to do this alone. So if my message is resonating with you, you're like, I need to work more closely with her. As my girlfriend said, do you need a signy or sign? Here it is for you. So we will put all of this in the show notes for you. I would love to connect with you. I am easy to find, whether it's Instagram, email, reach out, and I'm here to support you. So on that note, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy wherever you are in the world. Have gratitude for your life, because I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have more than most. So let's get out of worry and let's get into possibility. Let's reclaim your energy and your time so we can focus them on things that really matter. Because the truth is, we need to be showing up in a way that is more meaningful and impactful. That's how we're going to make change in the world, not from a place of fear and anxiety. So until next time, I will catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in.